Hello and welcome back to the harbour for our level 4 episode of Purple Does Potions. In my hunt for ever more glamorous locations, we are now sitting on top of the sewer outlet pipe. Plenty to get through in this one, so I'll be going through my scribbled notes as best as I can. First of all, a comment on the Master's Touch scrolls that I mentioned at the end of the last episode. Yes, we can use another character to transfer them to ours, but that's where the journey ended, because with a two-handed weapon you can't cast the scroll and have the weapon in your hand, so we would have needed somebody else to cast the scroll on us, or somebody else to hold the weapon and then pass it to us. So that particular idea came to nothing. I tried as another spell the flash powder, I think it's called. It said a short duration stun. I thought, oh, that could be good, but it's only on a single target by the looks of it. So I dismissed that one as not particularly helpful to our cause. I tried the first one as we got to level 3. I tried the first one in the salt marsh, only on elite, not reaper, and we got badly mauled in there. I did end up completing the quest, but it was really tough. So at that point I shelved the falchion and went looking for things that we could do on the casting side, knowing full well we still have no AoE. At least not that I can find. I found one poison AoE spell in one of the level 2 spell lists. Maybe I should have tried with that. Maybe that's a misstep. But in the end, I've gone with these 3 spell-like abilities in the Bombard tree. The advantage of these, they cost almost no mana, which is good because we're having to throw them all the time as they're only single target. We're able to put all our meta magics on, so we have Empower, Maximize and Quicken now at level 3 because we've got the extra feat from the human start, so that's very good. We also have from level 4 now the Alchemical Studies Pyrite, which gives us +1 caster level. It's one of the options for the alchemical bonus feats which you get at 4, 8, 12, 16 and 20. It gives us +1 caster level when casting, let's call them red or yellow spells, which are generally the offensive ones. I should probably take a moment to touch on all this, because this is probably what confuses people and maybe puts people off the most. The colours of the spells and the reaction, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and step into the Waterworks. I'm not going to do any quest or anything, and just going into a quest area so I can show you what we mean by some of this stuff. So the spells themselves, they all fall into one of 3 categories, and you can see that very easily with usually with the colour of the thing on your bar. For example, this is a background yellow, so you can guess it's yellow, and it tells you there Primer Guild Leaf yellow. That one is obviously a blue Cerulite, you can see that. And these are a bit more complex because they're shown up in the element that they represent. But these offensive vials from the Bombardier tree are all red Crimsonite. And that's the only 3 what they call primer elements that you get. So basically, all we're doing as an alchemist is mixing our prime colours, yellow, red and blue, to get 3 different possible reaction states, which are orange pyrite, which basically benefits the caster Bombardier type, green verdonite, which benefits the healing side of things, and purple, I forget what that's called, but that excuse me, that benefits defences. So generally, as an offensive caster, we're going to want to be in and around this purple as much as possible. So how do we change these reaction states, and how do we get them? Well, it's dead easy. Just think about mixing the colours. That little ball down there tells us it tells us there. Look, the most recent spell colour is red, and to change that, we need to do something that wouldn't make orange. So any other red spell will keep us in that. Any yellow spell, because red and yellow makes orange. So to change out of the orange state, we would need to cast a blue spell, like this glue bomb, for instance. So you can see now we've lost our reaction state, and the last most recent spell was blue. So I'll demonstrate what I would do to get us back into the orange, because that's the one we most typically would want to be in. So I've already mentioned that we would want yellow and red for the orange. So we could cast, let's say, a fine dust at somebody's feet. Now we've spiked into green because we had blue and yellow, which obviously makes green. But our last one was yellow. So we cast a red one now, a crimsonite one. And so the red one is the most recent. We've rubbed out our reaction state, and a yellow one, and now we're back into the orange that we wanted, the pyrite. So just think of it like mixing colours. Basically, if you're in one state already, so we're in orange, so any yellow or red that we cast now, which is most if not all of our offensive spells, will keep us in that orange state, which is probably beneficial to us. If we happen to cast a glue bomb to remove us from that state, we can just go, let's say, it's 3 different spells to get back into it. So we could say red, yellow, and red again, and we're back in. Now that you saw the pyrite reaction spike there, that's this mechanic the decent players all use. They will time the arrival of that spike to coincide with a big group of opponents and then hammer them with the AoE spells that they have. In our case, I suppose we could glue bomb and then quickly return to this orange state, but we don't have a big AoE to take advantage of that anyway. My play is not sufficiently advanced that I would be able to time the spikes, I don't think, but we will be making use of the glue bomb, so you will be seeing those spikes during the course of our gameplay, I think. I'll just step outside now because I've shown you what I wanted to show on that score. Just as a note in passing, most of you probably know this anyway, but I didn't. As we have different, we've got acid, electric and fire spell-like ability vials here. I did notice hitting a stone guard, which have been the bane of my life for Lord knows how long, stone guard champions. Obviously they take reduced damage from acid, and any kind of physical damage, it's reduced as well. The electric, they seem to be vulnerable to, so I finally found something that hurts those damn things. So that was nice to see. Reactions we've covered. So the gear, because we have 3 separate, we have an acid, vial of sparks, which is electric, and vial of flame. We needed to gear for those 3 elements, so that was a little bit more challenging, but we do have some salt marsh cinder fingers for the fire side of things, spark souls for the lightning, and the acid side is catered for nicely by our Hull Melter's Mace from the Pirate Crystal Cove event. which comes with some really nice things for our build. Extra conjuration is nice because almost all of the thrown vials are conjuration. You can see there. Almost everything is conjuration. The more defensive things, the crowd control side tends to be transmutation, and those two are that. The glue bomb and the fine dust. But conjuration for our offense, so that's great. It's got all the corrosion stuff, apart from the base acid power. It's got insightful corrosion. Anything insightful at level 4 is incredibly rare, so that's great to have. So insightful fort, insightful corrosion, so we're protected against critical hits. We've got more acid damage going on there. We've got our base acid damage on that ring. We've added in these low level mimic items. That one's a nice one for hit points and healing amp, and this one for a bit of defense, damage reduction, and that sticky goo guard is nice for slowing enemies that get within melee range. The fortification is also helpful if you don't have it on any other item. We happen to have it on the bracers, the Sapphire of moderate fortification. 75% protection versus critical hits from level 4 is amazing. I totally recommend using that Sapphire at 4 on your TR gear, and if you can get one at 8, the Sapphire of heavy fortification, 100% protection, is great too. Other than that, I think the gear is pretty much the same. So we have boosted our relevant elemental stats quite nicely. The acid, electric and fire, both spell power and crit, you can see there, are pretty decent. Now when these vials do crit, they can one-shot things, but generally it's not been the case. Our intelligence and our spell DCs in general not high enough to beat the reflex saves of the opponents generally. So very often we're doing half damage rather than full. But when we do crit, we're doing nasty damage. I've seen upwards of 200 on some shots, which is nice, but typically it's not been that. And against evasion opponents like the boss ghoul in the Crypt of Gerard Dryden, whatever that's called. I think it might be called that, might it, that quest? He has evasion, and it took us forever to bring him down. And bear in mind, he has a legion of other stuff with him, and we only had single target stuff. This character, like the Tempest Ranger we played before it, would definitely benefit from grouping early on. As mentioned before, my goal in the short term is to get to level 6, and the lifesaver that I'm hoping the Cure Serious Wound SLA will be, because that's going to give us an option to use also inflict serious wound AoE damage with our meta magics on. That should make quite a mess, and that's what I'm pinning my hopes on for an easier ride from level 6, so we can respec into here from there. The other thing I'm particularly looking forward to, because my shield clickable is on another character, so magic missiles are tearing us to pieces at the moment. A second core in there will sort that out very nicely, give us immunity to that. So definitely looking forward to going into there. Otherwise, gear we've covered. Reaper points obviously come online at 4, so we'll be splitting ours between the caster tree and the grim barricade. Spell pen I don't think is an issue for us, is it? Maybe with the frog. I'm guessing the frog might have a spell pen check. We'll find out much later on in heroic if that's the case. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good there. One thing I have forgotten to do is add the power boost to our bar. I have been playing in Reaper since hitting 4 and not been doing too bad. Against the Reapers themselves, obviously I can't hold them, but I can, with the single target power we can kill them in maybe the full bar there would kill a Reaper. If we were lucky and got a crit in, maybe we wouldn't need the full bar. What else have we got? Yeah, even though these are costing very little mana, the fact that they're only single target means that in longer quests like the aforementioned Gerard Dryden Tomb, running out of mana is definitely a thing. However, if you are reduced to Echoes of Power, these things just cost 4 mana and they're on a 4-second cooldown, so you're not by any means completely toothless if you've got a few of these on your bar. So I was able to survive and get to the shrine in that state, so that was nice. Yeah, the bottle targeting in general, if you rely too much on the auto targeting, I've tended to find bottles go missing and it's not happy times. I tend to find that tab targeting, or hard targeting as I guess they call it, is the way to go with these. Especially when I want something to land on myself, like a healing potion or something. The bottles themselves can hit from prodigious range. However, if you're in a sort of an underground area or any area with roofs and ceilings and that kind of thing, then beware of the arc of the bottle, because numerous times already I've had them smash on a ceiling and do no damage to the target. You can, well, there are 2 ways basically to get around that. Close the distance between you and the target to flatten out the arc of the throw, and or put accelerate meta magic on your bottles, which I think comes available from level 8. It flattens out the arc and speeds up the time to target. If I remember right, when I played the Alchemist last, I ended up not using the accelerate because it felt like a tax on my mana, and I seem to manage okay without having that. But your mileage might vary. I suppose if you're in Evergreen Mantle in Epics, you can basically just throw all the manas on and not worry too much about that side of things. So then accelerate, I guess, would be a thing. Maybe we could try it again this time around if we've a feat spare and see what we think. It is available as one of the bonus alchemical feats, so perhaps we can give it a go. Yeah, reflex saves I've already touched on. There's a lot of stuff saving, and that's causing us problems in dealing damage. Our spell DCs just aren't high enough at the moment. 23, so it's low 20s, and for these as well, 22, 21. So we are. Actually, these are lower because they're non-conjuration, aren't they? Those are being helped a little bit by the fact that they are... I think they might be helped... Yes, they're helped by that whole Melter Mace we have Insightful Conjuration focus, aren't they? Hopefully when we bring the Feywild gear online at 5, we might see a nice little increase in the spell DCs, which would translate to more reliable damage. I think that's about it for the waffle. So, I thought maybe I could take us into the Waterworks proper and see what we can do in here.
The strong smell of sewage permeates the air around you.
Now these are
You hear human
definitely
voices
softer quests, albeit still level 3, than say the Salt Marsh or the Gatekeeper Chain or indeed the Catacombs. So, and bear in mind we're not actually in a quest here, so we would expect to hammer everything out here. So you can see, I can show you the range. The range is very good, especially in open areas like this where there's no ceiling really to hit. Let's perhaps demonstrate the hit on the ceiling. Oh no, that hit anyway. I thought it might, but this, if there was something further back down there, this ceiling area here would definitely cause us a problem. So there we used auto-targeting without an issue. So basically I'm just spamming the 3 spell-like abilities from the Bombard tree with this Corrode weapons. It's an acid single target attack. That's nice for 2 reasons. First, it's acid and that's our strongest element, and secondly it's a yellow one against these red ones, so it's another option as well as the fine dust for getting us back into the orange, the pyrite reaction state when we want to be. So we're going to try it on Reaper. I would expect us to maybe not as much on the one-shotting side as we were there, but to be doing reasonably well anyway in this content. You can see now I've triggered a blue. That lesser evolution just gives us 1 more point in intelligence. I had an odd number of intelligence, so that was my way of equalizing that. So in Reaper mode we have slightly higher DCs. We're in the mid-20s for the vials, which isn't terrible for low-level stuff. So let's have a go now with the glue bomb. I've taken the quicken off these 2 because for mana reasons. Otherwise I find myself running out too quickly of mana. Oh, that was not good. Okay. Got a noose behind. So we are still able to one-shot some things in here at least, which is nice. And things are you'll notice things are succeeding the reflex saves less than I had indicated. So that bottle just went missing. That can happen when you attack from longer range. Now Reaper, that's going to be a problem, especially as we can't you know, like the archer has precise shot that they get, don't they? So we can dictate which target we hit. Well, here we can't. So although I was wanting to target that Reaper, often there were things in the way that were getting hit by the bottles instead. So that can be a bit of an issue. Now let me remember which way we're going. I think it's through here.
A loud chorus of snoring creatures behind the door.
So we are predominantly one-shotting stuff in here, which does feel rather nice after the... I can tell you, in the Catacombs this was not the case. Absolutely not the case. See there, reflex save, and it took us 2 shots. But there we had a crit for nearly 300, which at this level is pretty tasty. still using my Potions of Cure series to heal out of combat. I don't see the chest up here, so maybe it's in here with the spiders. Just refresh our buffs. You see we've lost our orange state again. Just to mention why it's nice for us to be in that state as a bombard type caster. Some of these cores, like here, while in Pyrite we gain 2% fire, cold, blah blah blah, spell, critical damage, and I think it carries on up here. Oh, I can't show it out of or in a quest rather, but there are other things that tally with the reaction state that you're in, and it's just more advantageous for the caster type to be in that state. So we'll get ourselves quickly back in, spiking the pyrite, and then not having anything to throw in. I should have thrown a glue bomb or something in there. Okay, I can see the chest. I'm being a bit selective about what I pick up because our strength is a dump stat for this life. My jump isn't great at the moment either. I hope and believe we do get something that gives jump and feather fall for a certain duration, but it obviously wasn't a priority to pick that up. Are we going down there or around here? I think we might have had some people. See, that's an example of that's amazing range-wise. When it works, it's very good. And in the fullness of time, I guess we'll be able to drop a multi-vial thing from that kind of range on a whole group of opponents and just hammer them. So that's what we've got to look forward to in return for the early level pain we're experiencing now for a little bit. I've criminally ignored my 2 boosts that I've got. Must take advantage of those. So we'll start now. Should see some more one-shots hopefully. See, every time they save, it takes us an extra shot to kill them.
You hear an arrogant and loud yipping voice behind the door.
And they are saving still reasonably often, although nothing like as often as the ones were in Catacombs. I think generally speaking we're having some good shots going here, and you've seen there every time it crits we're getting over, well, closer to 300, aren't we? And the range is just delicious. That. I had to remind myself in the last life as the Tempest that I wasn't really bothered for collecting souls on my travels. I'm so used to just collecting them by force of habit. There you go, that's an example of hitting the roof. I was actually trying for that. I knew we were a bit far away. So as you can see there, there are limits. Now, accelerate might help us to flatten that arc and hit these things from where we're standing. But as I mentioned, we can also just close the distance a bit and do it that way. There are some there we can't see at the moment. Let's try the old glue bomb. I think that worked pretty well there. But you can see the frailties of our build as it is at the moment. We're just having to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Which from distance against single targets is amazing. But when we've got a group around us, it's pretty bleh. There are... Let's try and nobble him from extreme distance. Oh, look at that. What about that shaman? Ooh. Just doing this for the hell of it now because I can. Happy days. Now then, this would be an insane shot. No. Okay, so we do get limitations by the scenery. What was I going to mention? There are options, as I said. There is an AoE poison spell. I think it's called Greater Venom Vial at level 2, which I decided not to go for. And there's also a very basic... oh, crud. That was our sticky goo guard from the Cloak of the Mimic going off. So reduces their move and attack speed if they come in melee range and hit us, or try to. Yeah, I was going to mention the very low level spell that we could have tried. Have we even picked it up? Yeah, Vile Smash Acid. I don't anticipate that that would do too much in our cause, but that would at least give some form of AoE if we had a load of stuff on like low health that we just needed to finish off. I haven't tried that, but I think I did last time around and I was distinctly underwhelmed by it. We wouldn't, it's a low cost, but we wouldn't be able to put any kind of metas on it because very quickly the mana would run out, so I don't anticipate that being too useful to our cause. Oh. Okay. So provided it's not a complete swarm of opponents, we're doing okay, aren't we, at the moment? Against the bigger groups like this is where you really want the glue bomb coming in. And we'd ideally love to follow that with an AoE, but unfortunately we can't. However, the glue does last quite a long time, as you saw there. You also saw some of the fairly clunky bottle targeting, with some going missing and not really doing what we wanted. So again, it's if you really want something to be hit, tab target it, and I think that's the best way to go with that. And another note to self, just make more use of these boosts, that's what they're there for. And what's happening here? Oh, okay. Not too shabby. We've got a trap here. And now from level 12, the Alchemist, how I remember where the things are here, the spikes are more or less in line with the lines on the floor. So if I step in the middle of the lines, I'm usually okay going to the valve. Come on. Determined to make up for lost time and get all the boosts in here. As such, you folk are doing me a favour, because if I was playing without recording. I'm pretty sure I would be very lax in the use of the boosts.
This appears to
Now
be
this is
prime
another
action
great
for the
example
prison.
of the use of the range. Look at that, just dropping from miles away on what is quite a dangerous target. Reaper as well. So we killed him before he could get within meaningful range of us, which is awesome. Oh, I'd forgotten all about these guys. That's less awesome. Glue bomb. Try and stun them while we deal with the Reaper. Get the boosts on. Send another fine dusting. Yeah, knock them all down. So we do have the crowd control to just about contain things while we deal with them. What we don't have is that follow-up. But I do think this is still, even with its limitations at the moment, still clearly better than plugging away with the falchion for another level. There was one thing to note there as well, on the same theme of bottles hitting intervening targets. I had a shaman targeted there with a glue bomb, and because there were these guys here in my face, the glue bomb hit them and glued them instead. So with that is an issue with the targeting. Sometimes you're not always able to target the opponent that you would ideally like to. Let's see how far. Oh, you see there, roof. So there are limits to the range that we can hit from, and fair enough, because it would be totally abusive to hit from. We would be talking Archer level of devastation, wouldn't we, if we could hit from all that way?
The prisoner thanks you for freeing him.
I'm guessing our buffs are going to need to be redone. Can we just nabble that shaman down there? Nope. Get us back into orange, perhaps. Yeah. Oh, chest. Now, in previous lives of the Alchemist on my main character, I would often shun using blue spells and stick to red and yellow just to keep me in that orange reaction thing. I think that was a mistake, seeing how good the glue bomb is and knowing how good the frog is a bit later. So I'm going to, and also how relatively easy it is to get yourself back into the orange state. You do it with almost without thinking, because most of the time you're throwing yellow and red offensive spells anyway, so you're going to be going back towards that state even without planning for it. Just to reiterate that we already have insightful reflexes. That's auto granted at level 2, and at 12 we have the option, which I will certainly be taking. You can see there the reflex save's gone through the roof now because we've got intelligence to reflex save. We have liquid luck, which will give us evasion, so traps will no longer be such an issue for us. So that's going to be lovely. I'm going to show you one last one in here, although I think you've pretty much got a good idea already of where the build is at. I don't like to do the last one in the chain looking for the dead prisoner in all the cells, because too often I can just miss it, or it's running round for forever looking. I think that one's best done in a group and you can split up and search the area. Ooh, trying to use a
The
horse in
strong
a
smell of sewage
wilderness
permeates the
area.
air
That's not
around
going to
you.
go well.
You hear human voices up ahead.
Again, we see the sticky guard from the mimic cloak going off there. And we also see the glaring lack of an AoE. Many characters would have gone in there and just hammered that group in one cast. I guess the Warlock by level 4 would have the cone blast. Come on. See that's a textbook illustration of an area that's crying out for an AoE, and I've come in so many times and just hammered that lot and felt very smug about it. It is, having said that, the relatively slow beginnings to this class do make you fully appreciate what happens when you reach level 6, and then doubly so at level 12, which is just the build just goes into orbit. If you've never played an Alchemist, I would encourage you, please, before judging the class, get to level 12, try out the multi-vial, and then make your judgment, because it really is like night and day. Once that multi-vial comes online, things are just absolutely melting. I'm not joking. It's a great deal of fun to start chucking all that stuff around, I can tell you. And then I think the capstone, if I remember right, is another multi-vial, isn't it? Yeah, so you can have 2 of those things on separate cooldowns, just going all over the place. That's another thing I have to be a little bit careful of while we only have single target damage. Not to go too crazy in running through things and making a big pile of them for obvious reasons, because we could easily get overwhelmed. If you're wondering why the 4th one's a bit slow, there's no metas on that because it's an actual spell.
In the center of the
Okay,
room,
now let's test the
where it
range.
covers a
Watch
shaft
this.
disappears
I'm gonna just pick off everything except for the one hiding behind the sceneries come to their rescue. Oh, I'm just targeting things at random and hitting scenery, being stupid. But we are making a real decent job of the anything that doesn't save is basically getting one shot, so that's tasty. A boss there. I think there was a chest down there, wasn't there? As I mentioned in a previous episode, I think any of these can contain that rare card cleanser, which people seem happy to give you a Otto's box in return for. So now I've said that, we'll find one in here. Not today, sir. Was worth a shot, wasn't it? Oh, hello. Come on, shoot. Actually, against the Reapers, we're in a reasonably good place. 3 heavy-hitting single-target spell-like abilities. That's kind of what you want for the Reapers. It's just against the rank and file that we're struggling. Yeah, the Reapers, if you can't hold them, you want to be able to kill them, and we certainly can't hold them. Our solution against Reapers in the fullness of time is going to be the Greater Colour Spray from the Fade Arc tree, which is also another option for this magic missile problem that we have. That one there would give us the same immunity to magic missiles. For Pete's sake, let's use some boost. Oh, we've got people up at the top there now, haven't we? So I'm gonna use the tactic they've been using against me, using the cover to make them miss. And then the prodigious range to get rid of them. And we do have some on the other side as well. So yeah, outside of an actual... Oh, not good. Outside of an actual archer, this stuff is really, really good for the long range hits like that. Especially when you don't want to go close to something, which in our case is often. Speaking of going close, one of the issues I remember, it also made it quite fun, but one of the issues with the Alchemist crowd control, the flash freeze and the flesh to gold, is that you have to be literally there in the middle of all the opponents to get that working. And what that means is you're of course risking life and limb to get your crowd control and then your big boom off. And I can remember one of the things I liked the most was using the is it the energy burst version of the Dragon Breath in conjunction with the flash freeze and then energy burst. There's nothing more satisfying in game than to do that combo, to just jump in, flash freeze everything and then blow everything to pieces. I used to love that, and I'm hoping to recreate that during the course of this life. Where are we going now? Through there. Oh, we've no feather fall, so I'll just swap into a cloak that does have it.
Would be deadly. You see pipes intersecting it that
We
might
do
help
have...
break your
Oh,
fall.
God. Our single target thing, by the way, if I can ever get out of this mess, is perfect for this situation. Spread out single targets all over the place. Oh my God, if we can survive. Oh my goodness, we might not survive. Can I just... I think the worst one was the crown there. Somebody shooting us. Oh my god, there was somebody behind us. That's me with my awareness of the situation as ever. And we've still got somebody there, so we still can't heal properly from our potions, which is a pain. Now we may be able to. Yeah, that was a trademark panic from yours truly. Just take a moment here. Rebuff and but that was also an example, as I mentioned, of a situation where our build, the state it's in at the moment, had the tools to do alright. Imagine if we'd not had the range and the heavy hitting single target things. It was just perfect for the situation we found ourselves in. Just unfortunate that 3/4 of our health was already chewed away by the boss, the crown, at the start of that area. Oh crud, why are you attacking us with fire? That's one thing it does teach you, this various collection of different elements, what is vulnerable to what. As I mentioned, I learned that the stone guard champions are vulnerable to electric just by throwing these things around.
You notice recognizable letters among the scratches on the wall.
Come on now, don't lose now.
Chief Jittick's room.
I think we missed with almost all of those attacks. Come on. Just spamming into everything, pressing all the keys. It seems to be working. I threw in a couple of random crowd controls in and amongst all that. I think another thing to mention about the bottles is that if you throw, I think I'm right in saying, if you're doing an AoE like a multi-vial and somebody happens to kill your target before the bottles get there, don't the bottles disappear? Like I thought of it because I killed a target there with one bottle, and my second one immediately sort of fizzled that had been aimed at the same target. So I think that's what happens. So you lose the whole thing, even if there were other opponents in that area to have gone at. So that's another slightly clunky aspect of the bottle throwing. Still, all in all, lack of AoE aside, I think we're not doing too bad. We've started casting, which is always a phase I like to reach with my caster builds, to get away from wielding the weapon and into the casting times. I mean, the speed and the damage done for the single target attacks is pretty respectable. It's just the complete lack of AoE that's hurting us at the moment, but not too long to go. We're almost at 5, and at 6 we're going to be taking that that AoE in the apothecary tree. So hopefully that will fix all our issues. I think it's going to be on a short cooldown, 8 seconds. That's not terrible. Maybe we'll have enough for a single target thing from the bombard tree as well, or perhaps we could use this cure or inflict light wounds instead as our single target thing. Maybe that would be a thing, and then we'd have a ready-made heal for any party members as well, because that would also take our metas, wouldn't it? Plus we'd have extra chance to crit with positive and negative. Yeah, I can see us investing big time in this tree at the expense of everything else when we get to 6, and seeing how we roll with that. On that note, I do have a silver thread belt from Ravenloft to take care of all the positive and negative spell power and crit when we reach 10. So that would be a nice item to use with that in mind. Okay, I think I have waffled on for far too long already. That probably went a little bit better than I anticipated, so happy days on that. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.